love movies and movie discussions, you've come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am The Wiz! And I'm here today to review the 1985 teen drama classic, The Breakfast Club, starring Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson, Molly Ringwald, Ali Sheedy, Anthony Michael Hall, and Paul Gleason, written and directed by John Hughes. Yeah, this is a movie that I keep hearing from a lot of people my age, or even older than that this is probably the best teen drama that has ever been made. Even like other movies reference this movie as one of the best teen dramas, and on top of that, it's one of the few teen dramas that's on the Criterion Collection, along with Fast Times at Ridgemont High. This was definitely a bucket list movie, or a movie that I really wanted to check out at some point, but you know how it is. You have options, and you get paralyzed with those options, and you choose nothing. But anyway, I've been wanting to watch this movie for a while to see what the buzz is about this movie. I have heard nothing but great things. Again, why don't I get right into it? Let me get to the review of The Breakfast Club, written and directed by John Hughes. I understand that some people, when it comes to their favorite movies, there's been studies done about this, not only with movies, but with music, books, and stuff like that the movies that really stick with you, the ones that, or any kind of media that sticks with you, that becomes your favorite, is usually something you see around your teens. That's true with me. I saw Fargo when I was like 12, 13, and it's still one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm not saying I'm not above that. The thing is that a lot of people, adults my age too, they say that this is one of their favorite movies of all time. And I get the feeling that it's just sometimes there's just movies that you have to see at a certain age to actually get either the full effect of it or to really have that resonance with you. I think that's going to be the issue I'm going to have with this movie. I did like it. I think it's a good movie. I think it's better than most teen dramas and teen movies out there. That being said, I'm not going to kid myself here. It is a good teen drama, but it is still a teen drama. And with these teen dramas, especially with teen dramas that want to get a lot of people to watch it, they don't really go too deep. And they don't really go too in-depth on characterization or a lot of things in the movie. They really do hold on to certain types of tropes. And yes, this movie does hold on to tropes. There is the jock, there is the nerd, there is the rebel, there is the awkward girl, there is the popular girl, and there is the mean-spirited principal as well. Like, this is not a new formula at all. But what makes The Breakfast Club, I think, something that a lot of people seem to enjoy more than others is that they spend more time getting to know these characters than I think in any other teen drama movie. I think that's why this movie ends up being something that a lot of people like. Because deep down, okay, I say it a lot of times too when it comes to movies that I think are popcorn movies. Movies that are just pure for entertainment. People don't seem to like depth in their movies, but I really think that is not true. I think they don't want to be forced into watching something that has that much depth because they want to be entertained. They want to have a good time. That's mainly the thing with movies, is that people just want to be entertained and have a good time. That's why when I tell people I've watched an 8-hour documentary about the Holocaust or a 2-hour movie about a child soldier in Belarus, they're like, why the hell would you want to watch that? That doesn't sound fun. Like, no, it's not. But you're supposed to get a different experience out of it. I won't get into that much depth anymore, but I know a lot of you might understand where I'm coming from here. But I want to say, in my mind, this is a good movie. I will say that. But I think it's something that deep down I wish I saw as a teenager, because I think I would have had a much more profound effect with this movie if I was, let's say, 14 or 15. And since I didn't, I saw it when I was 40. I don't think it's going to have that powerful effect for me on this. You may disagree. Let me know in the comments if you do. Again, good movie, but it's what I call a good one of those. Am I going to compare it to, let's say, The Godfather? No, I am not going to do that. Am I going to compare it to the Before trilogy? No, I'm not going to do that. They're two different types. They're all different types of movies. But for what this film is, it is a very good one of those. So let's get into the performances. Honestly, All 6 of the performers are pretty good. I don't think there's really one standout. I know a lot of people think Judd Nelson was really good in the movie, and I can understand why. This is a movie where I kind of wish there was more meat in the movie, that there was more that these actors could work with, because as much as the performances are good, I don't think there is a bad performance in this film from the 6 actors in this. I really think that the screenplay doesn't give them enough to give them really outstanding performance. I just don't think it's there. And to ask these types of actors who were pretty young at the time, I think they were in their early 20s when they did this movie, I just don't think you were going to get that type of a performance from someone who probably wasn't acting that long. I will say this, I think the one performance I liked the most was Molly Ringwald, who played Claire in this. The way that she played her character was both interesting and, in a way, it had more depth than I think the others did. You would come to find more depth as the movie goes along with these characters, but they're not really there in terms of performance. They kind of go through the same motions as they do in any other teen movie. I think Molly Ringwald had the best performance in this movie. Then I would say probably Judd Nelson, followed by Ali Sheedy. I think if there was one performance that I would have liked more, it was Ali Sheedy. That character could have been a lot more interesting, but either a lot of it was in the cutting room floor, or there wasn't much there to write about with this character. Let's get into the writing. Let me go into dialogue first. With dialogue, it's fine. It is good with the dialogue that they have. I know a bunch of it was ad-libbed by the actors, which wasn't too bad. But when it comes to the story, I think for a story that is essentially just a talking film, which is what I find very surprising about this film and how popular it is and how much people love this movie. This is ostensibly a talking film. I'm actually very surprised that this was the vast majority a dialogue film. And the way that the film goes into the characters and how they grow and everything, I think it's good, but it's not something I find entirely believable. I think the issue with me on this is a movie, I think, if there was a much more meaty, more serious screenplay, like let's say they really get into some not great things. Let's say, for example, okay, all these characters are dealing with neglect or abuse. Either they're neglected at home, they're abused psychologically or physically in some cases, or they're being pushed to do something that they just don't want to do, and they have serious problems at home. That's what all 5 of the characters are like with the kids in this. I look at this movie and think, if someone were to remake this and make it a little more serious, I think this would have had a much better effect if there was a much more serious discussion about abuse or the things that these kids go through. I mean, you do hear about Judd Nelson's character who gets abused by his dad, who gets cigarettes put out on his arm. You hear about how Ali Sheedy's character gets no attention at home, therefore she is grungy, dirty, is very quiet. You have these things here. But because, I think that this is my main issue with the screenplay, you want to take these characters seriously, and you want to take these characters to think that they're going through some hard stuff. The film is a little too light for my tastes to take them seriously. But if I have in the back of my head that, it's a teen movie, it's supposed to be for ages 13 to 17, if I treat it like that, specifically, I can give enough leeway to say, okay, so it's good that way. But in no way am I going to really compare it to much more serious or more, I would say, much more effective dramas. And I think that's the main issue I have with this film, is where it's good with what it is, but it could have been more in my eyes. All right, so let's get into spoilers for The Breakfast Club, the 1985 teen drama directed by John Hughes. If you have not seen it, you should come back when you're ready. We'll get into spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I have a couple of main issues. Went over it in the in the review, the non-spoiler part, where basically I think there should have been a little more seriousness in this movie for it to be effective as a drama, because the comedy in itself doesn't really work, but it's the drama that I think holds it together. So I think if they would have went more in a dramatic route, I think this would have been a much more effective film, in my eyes. I know a lot of people love this film. But what I will say, though, is the ending. The ending is considered a classic ending in films, period, where the 5 kids get to know each other, they really grow, and they start to become friends. and they start to form a bond. I cannot tell you how unbelievable that is. I cannot tell you how unbelievable that is. But if you want to still say, Wiz, it's a teen movie, that's the basis of what it is, these types of endings are just how it is in these teen movies, fine. I will give it that. Yes, they get close, they get to know each other and find out exactly why they are here on a Saturday detention. But let's be honest. In the end, those kids were not going to get along after that. They were not going to be friends. And the movie implies they're going to. For example, 4 of them end up being in a couple at the end, which is Molly Ringwald's character and Judd Nelson, and Emilio Estevez's character and Ali Sheedy. And, of course, the nerd doesn't get anything, which, surprise. I just don't believe that they would actually be friends after that. I think after that day, the next day they all forget about it, and then that's it. It's over. A lot of people think differently about that. They think, oh, it's a way to show that people of different persuasions and different modes of thinking can really come together and like each other. And I look at that and go, no, I don't think that's what happens here. I think that they were captive audiences, and once they are free, it's over. It's done. They're not going to care about each other. They're probably going to act like what they acted like before this. I think that's what this movie is. That's why the ending felt a little untrue to me. It just felt like, you're going for a happy ending. This would have been a movie, again, with more depth into it that maybe it could have worked for me, but it just really didn't. There is another trope that happens at the end of the movie, and it's Ali Sheedy's character, who was the awkward, quiet, weird girl who all of a sudden becomes beautiful, and the jock is into her after that. And I look at that and I'm like, why? Why did you need to do that? I know that, again, this is a trope from 80s teen dramas. I know that. It's probably a trope in 70s and 60s dramas too. But I really think that was done pretty ineffectively. I looked at that and went, I don't like that at all. That's kind of lame, I think. One more thing, and then I'll get into my final thoughts. I wanted more from the principal. Maybe, I don't know why. It's because I'm 40, and I just, I don't know why. I would have liked if the principal imparted some kind of lesson to a certain extent, or showed some compassion with these characters. I think making him into the strongman villain, I don't think it works in this. And I'm saying this a lot. A bunch of the stuff in this film I don't think works, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's actually pretty good. When I hear people talk about this film, it's like one of the best films ever made. And I'm watching this going, no, not really. Not really. Let me get into final thoughts for The Breakfast Club. It's a good one of those. It's a good teen drama, but bear that in mind. If you are my age, or if you're younger, I would say if you're over the age of 25, and someone who's watched The Breakfast Club when they were younger says it's one of their all-time favorite movies, and it's going to be your first time watching it, I would temper your expectations. I think it's a very good teen drama, but you have to put that in mind. It's a teen drama, and it's a Hollywood teen drama at that. So they're going to go through tropes. They're going to go through things that are not very in-depth. There's not much depth in this movie at all that I think would have benefited a lot if they would have written more about these characters and probably given them a little more serious tone in the movie. I'm going to give this film 3 stars out of 5. It's a good movie. I like it. I think it's good. I just don't think it's as great as other people have told me. And maybe that's my problem too. Maybe I have hyped this movie in my head too much and I have made my expectations a little unrealistic. Maybe that's the case. I think it's good. I just don't understand exactly how it's become so celebrated, not only for teen dramas, but dramas in general. That's where I look at that and go, why? Really? I don't know about that. 3 stars out of 5 for me for The Breakfast Club. I did like it. It's good, but it's not great. All right, so that is the end of that review. So let me talk about what I'm going to be reviewing next week by myself. This is another movie that I've been wanting to see that I've heard many great things about. It is a sci-fi classic from 1979. It has gone on to spawn multiple films, and that is Ridley Scott's Aliens, starring Sigourney Weaver. I've wanted to see this for a little while. What I've really wanted to see was Aliens. I have heard so many good things about Aliens, but it feels weird to watch Aliens before watching Alien. So that's just how my mind works, unfortunately. I know some of you are like, oh, just watch Aliens. It's great. You don't need to be like, no, I need to see Alien. We're going to watch and review Alien for Thursday for next week. I am The Wiz, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.